Welcome back to the 700 Club. Sundown this evening marks the beginning of the Jewish New Year known as Rosh Hashanah. And as we do each year at CBN, we'll be celebrating in the Regent University Chapel. We invite all of you to join us. Just log on to cbn.com at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be live streaming this amazing event of song, dance, worship, and prayer. Our featured guest will be international worship artist Paul Wilbur. Take a look.
Give a shout.
Paul Wilbur has traveled the world with guitar in hand and worshiped in over 75 nations. Paul usually leads audiences in worship and messianic song. But now, he brings us his unique perspective of the recent anti-Semitism and anti-God culture we see today. In his book, A King is Coming, Paul explains why we are experiencing this dramatic shift and how we can better position ourselves in the midst of a world in crisis.
And please welcome back to the 700 Club the author of A King is Coming, an international worship superstar. I added that. Paul Wilbur. Because it's true. Paul, you're looking great. You look fantastic.
Thank you. The makeup people here are
awesome.
Tremendous.
They really, really are. On a more serious subject, though, why are we seeing an increase in anti-Semitism right now in the world?
It's like the anti-Christianity is the new anti-Semitism. As they increase, people as I travel, why ISIS? Why the increase in anti-Semitism? Why all the tumult and the uproar and all? And really, there's a simple answer to it all, as I see it. It's because a king is coming.
Wow.
Jesus told us that in the last days there'd be increase in war and rumors of wars and natural disasters. We call them natural. Sometimes I think they're man-inspired. But Wendy, there is a battle that's going on behind what is seen, behind this I don't want to sound so ridiculous, but this facade of all the natural that so attracts our attention because we live in a natural world. But as we know, the spiritual world birthed all the stuff that we see.
It's more real than we know.
It is more real than we know. And there is a war going on for a throne. I know there's a program that's not very edifying, called a Game of Thrones, but that was the title of that. Was so provoking to me. When I heard that title, I said, that's it.
Wow.
That's the answer to all these questions, because there is a battle for a throne. Now, there's only one king who has the right by blood and by authority to sit on that throne. But before recorded time, Satan said to God, I will establish my throne above yours, and I will sit in the most holy place. This is the unseen battle that we wage every day, whether we know it or not.
Amazing.
And so when God gives us eyes to see, we realize. Now, in my book, I not only lay out the problem, but also about the last third. How do we live victoriously, knowing what we know? How do we deal with day-to-day life? And I walk us through kind of a prescription for victorious living in these last days.
And this is the cover right here. A King is Coming. Let me ask you, a lot of hurricanes going on right now, earthquakes, solar eclipses. Is there a message in all of this for us right now?
I would say, Wendy, the message for us is build your house on solid rock. You know, Jesus talked about be careful of shifting sand. I live in Florida. Now, we know what it is building on sand. As we drive through the state of Florida now, because of all of the hurricanes and all, there are sinkholes all over the place. People have built
power lines down everywhere.
People have built beautiful homes on what they thought was a solid foundation.
Right.
But you see that it really isn't. Spiritually, that's a lesson for us. No matter what happens, you know, the Lord told us the winds may blow. When you walk through the water, it'll not overtake you. When you pass through the fire, you'll not be burned.
Right.
We need to have our feet planted on the solid rock, and that is Him, Yeshua, Jesus.
Was your house okay?
Our house we didn't lose power. We had no water damage, no wind damage, and that was it was a 2 by the time it got to us.
You must know somebody. All right.
Yeah,
why do you think America has remained in such good favor, or remained in a position of favor with God?
There are 2 reasons there are two pillars, like there were two pillars that held up the porch of the temple. There are two pillars that hold up and prop up the United States of America that we need to continue to maintain.
Okay.
One is that we are a Judeo-Christian society,
right,
that we have at our foundation the Bible is our reason for existing, and that we are supporters and lovers of Israel. Love what God loves, hate what God hates, and those two pillars will remain solid.
And under this new administration, the Trump administration, it seems that it's never been this good between Israel and the U.S.
I believe that God has given us, and not speaking politically, but I believe that God has given us 7 years of grace now that we need to take full advantage of and bring in the harvest while we have this covering, because we don't know what's beyond there. And it's a wise servant who will use what they've been given. And I believe that God has given us really an incredible season now to be who we are, to declare it and proclaim it without fear, and to take a hold of that for which God has taken a hold of us.
Yeah, that really resonates in my spirit. Well, Paul, you'll be leading us tonight in worship for Rosh Hashanah. It's always a glorious time. I can't wait. Tell us the title of the song you're about to perform for us right now from your new album.
Well, English is much easier. It's Psalm 95, but this one I did not write. I took it from a friend in Jerusalem. The Hebrew is Lehu Neranena, which is the very first line of Psalm 95. Let us sing for joy to the Lord. It's fun.
All right, I'm going to release you right now to go get ready to perform for us and to sing this for us. So as Paul gets up, Wilbur's new book is called A King is Coming, and his latest CD is called Forever Good. Both can be found wherever books and music are sold. Paul is also the featured speaker, as I mentioned, at our noon chapel today, and you can join us online at cbn.com at noon Eastern Time. We also invite you to join us tonight for our Rosh Hashanah celebration. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in the Regent University Chapel. To join us online, just go to cbn.com.